and they have put Meru County in this particular situation. He should be held accountable, Chair. That is very important.
That's the aspect of liability, which is constitutional. Then there's an aspect of responsibility. Senator for Meru.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe this issue started with the first regime, and the matter of determined then we came to the second regime. That's the second governor. He did also not pay the French guy, investor. And now then the land governor came in. So my question is, when you took over office, my good governor, what steps did you take at least even to negotiate with these people out of court so that you could not still approve more interest in that case? So have you ever tried any means, or the same case Senator Bilaji is asking, is what effort have you done since you took over office?
Excuse me, Chair.
To ensure...
Went over intervention. For the purpose of records, this is
Senator Sheikh.
Senator Mariam,
Mariam Sheikh.
not Miraji.
Thank you. So my question, are you now trying to interrupt my meeting?
Order, Mr. Speaker.
So I was asking, what effort have you made so far, Madam Governor, to make sure that you don't accrue interest or even to negotiate out of court? Because much of the money is interest. But the principal amount that this guy suffered, I mean the investor suffered, that would be enough for him. All these others up to now 500, from I think 300 million to 500, where we are at the moment, is just interest. This is something that we would have negotiated with them, so that maybe you pay a little and then that matter stops and there is no much interest. Then you give commitment. I'm actually giving letters, but I'm asking what effort did you at the end time attempt to do so that we save Meru County from this amount?
I think that's a question that gives us a way forward. So please proceed, Governor.
Thank you, Chair. We've tried our best as a county. One is even wrote to the Treasury for waiver, if they can at least assist us, because the amount was so big for the county. I went ahead and we've negotiated with the business person. So far we've paid him 100 million in our budget. We've budgeted 150 million. And we've agreed that because we have a consent on how we will pay as per what we are receiving from the Treasury, there will be no much interest or there will be no interest at all. We only pay what has been awarded by the court. That is the...
Is this documented, what you're saying?
It is documented.
If we are to ask for evidence of those measures and agreements and consent, we can get that in the next 7 days?
We can get in the next even 4 days.
Senator Onyonka.
Chair, my request to this committee is that we must look at the sanctity of this committee and pronounce ourselves. I think there's a need for you to pronounce yourself and make sure I request that the former governor and his head of legal affairs is summoned to this committee so that we can get to the bottom of this. I think, Chair, for us to let this pass is a disappointment. We can't discuss how Machakos County before paid 900 million shillings for legal services and ignore what has happened in Meru and ignore what is in Nakuru and ignore, I mean, Chair, these things are really important, I think.
Thank you. I remember we had made a prior resolution that we do a special inquiry on legal fees in counties. And I take note that the devolution committee is currently seized of a petition on the same subject. So we need to bring all this together. But what we are demanding of the governor is whatever you have explained orally, of course you have explained well under oath, we want it to be reduced in writing so that you are telling us that this is a strategy we have to stem the losses or to fulfill our obligation on the Leopard Rock, on the other case you have mentioned, of 150 million. You must do that in writing. You say you can do it in 4 days. please address that to the Auditor General and the Clerk of the Senate in the next 7 days. Secondly, we must see your full contingent liabilities register. You are supposed to disclose it in these financial statements. You did not. So you must also provide your full list of litigation in progress where there is an estimated amount. Cases where already you are able to estimate the likely outcome. Copy that to the auditor, send that to the Auditor General, copy it to the Clerk of the Senate. This is not a new demand. This is a requirement under the standards that your contingent liability register must be part of the financial statements. We want to see the exposure that Meru has. If all the cases were determined against Meru County, would Meru County continue to be a going concern, or it will be folded up and money paid to advocates? I think those are the two actions that we are demanding. But also the third one was enforcement of the County Attorneys Act, being faithful to the County Attorneys Act. The CEC, who is a political appointee, can never and should never encroach on the statutory duties of the county attorney as prescribed in the County Attorneys Act.
Chair, I wanted to know, the officers who are cancelled the contract, are they in office?
No.
They are not?
Yes.
They have already left?
They left.
Really serious.
I think I'll need to read, it was not 2 to 5, or it was 2 to 6, Article 2 to 6(5), which says if the holder of a public office, including a political office, directs or approves the use of public funds, contrary to law or instructions, the person is liable for any loss arising from that use and shall make good the loss whether the person remains the holder of the office or not. And when you had another county here, Senator Mtata was able to give them a small lecture on the difference between liability and responsibility. As a chief executive officer, you have the responsibility to stem further losses. The persons who make the decisions will carry the liability, but responsibility to ensure that public resources are used prudently lies in the hands of the current chief executive officer. Now, on this matter, unless there's any further comment, we may proceed. I think the final question on now that we're on legal fees, it emerged when we were looking at the financial statements of Isiolo County that the governor charged the county government of Isiolo when there was an attempt to impeach him. The legal fees were charged to Isiolo County. Governor, you have gone through an impeachment process. Who took care of your legal fees?
Myself and the judge.
So we shall not find any payment out of Meru County government relating to legal fees with respect to the impeachment proceedings.
No.
So, Auditor General, when you're looking at the legal fees, please keep that in view and let us know whether what the governor has said is factual. We may then proceed to the next issue, and now we'll move a bit faster. I think the next issue was budgetary control and performance. On this, we shall take the written responses, because when you do this 2 years later, it does not make a lot of sense. Next is unresolved prior year audit matters, and that's what we are dealing with, so we shall take the written responses. Next is non-compliance to fiscal responsibility principles. This one we might need to discuss for a minute. Governor, your personnel emoluments are at 45%. The law requires you to be at 35%. What are you doing about it?
Thank you, Chair. We are trying our best as county not to have extra people employed.
Or maybe just to guide you, maybe you can just read your management response, then you can explain it.
Thank you, Chair. We concur with the audit observation that county bill expenditure is above the set limit of 35% of the total revenue. To mitigate the situation, the county has frozen recruitment except for key critical services. This effort, along with anticipated retirement of staff, will ensure the county achieves the set limit within the next 3 years.
Where is the evidence that you have frozen recruitment? Because I believe there is either cabinet memo, a letter by the county secretary, or something from the county public service board. So how do you evidence this initiative?
Chair, before she comes in,
Senator Onyonka.
I would like to add an addendum, Your Excellency. When you came in as the governor of Meru County, did you do an audit on the total number of personnel that you found from the previous regime? And since then, have you increased the number or decreased it, or have you kept it constant? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. When I came into office, there were around 6,000 employees. And we've just added around 100. That includes the chief officers, who are 5 only, the 10 waziris, and the staff from the office of the governor. So the number that the current governor, that is myself, is around 150. The rest 6,000 employees have inherited from the former regime.
Well, was there any audit whether there were ghost workers? Was there any HR audit when you took over?
Yes, there was audit, Chair.
And what were the findings?
All the 6,000 employees were attached at different places and departments. No ghost workers at all.
There were no ghost workers?
Yes.
And all the 6,000 were round pegs in round holes. You know what I mean? Was it Nairobi County, where a fellow bishop was in charge of firefighting services? You know, that's what an audit looks at. It's not just about costs. It's about whether the round pegs have been put in round holes.
The right place.
Whether people are in the right places. Whether an architect is not in charge of veterinary services. So did the audit go to that extent of fitness for purpose?
No, but we still have one that is coming very soon, so that we can know exactly where one is supposed to be.
Do you have a staff establishment? It's one of the audit queries here.
It's just a draft, it's not approved.
So without a staff establishment, how do you know who should be where? And whether the people who are in those positions ought to be in those positions? You know, those are the questions that your HR audit should be looking at. It's not just about costs. It needs to be brought to that extent. Let me allow Senator Meru, then Senator Onyonka.
I don't know, because I came a bit late, Chair, whether the county secretary is part of the delegation that came with the governor, because it could be the right person to ask the questions I want to ask, because he's the head of public service.
The county secretary is not with us, but we have the CEC public administration with us.
Is that the same guy who's also legal? Public administration and legal. So he's usurping the role of the county secretary, usurping the role of the county attorney. Because those two positions, their job description was written by Parliament. What public administration does he do? Or is he the one who communicates with chiefs and sub-chiefs?
Thank you, Chair. That was the title from inception, that CEC, Public Administration and Legal Affairs.
So what is involved in public administration?
Public administration, Chair, I don't know, maybe he's in charge of what admins and what have you.
What admins, some counties.
Sub-county administrators, what administrators.
Oh, but is that what he does? Because remember, it's CEC for legal, and yet there's supposed to be a county attorney.
Maybe you ask him, Chair, what does he do?
What do you do when it comes to public admin, so that we figure out whether you're the right person to respond?
Yes, I'm in charge of ward administrators, sub-county administrators, essentially it's their management.
What about the county public service?
We also have the county secretary who is the head of public service, the county public service.
How do you relate to the county secretary functionally?
The county secretary handles issues of employee in terms of disciplinary issues, in terms of payroll management and such.
It's just to order and direct the administrators.
Yes, and Chair, there was an advisory from the Transition Authority on the separation of the roles of the county secretary and the CC in charge of public service administration.
You cannot have a CC in charge of public service when you have a county secretary who's designated as the head of the county public service. You are just duplicating functions and wasting public resources and causing unnecessary centers of power. Governor, you need to, your HR audit must also look at your cabinet, the manner in which you have allocated roles in your cabinet, because it's going to cause conflict with other officers who have statutory responsibilities. But sorry, Senator Meru.
So now the CC, public service, public administration, legal, and
everything legal.
Everything that is in that umbrella. Have you ever, in your course of trying to demonstrate that you want to deal with this question of fiscal responsibility, have you ever improved on the option of declaring redundancies as part of what you want to use to reduce the number? Of course, it is not just necessarily not recruiting. Because if there are a deficiency of doctors, if there is a deficiency of nurses, if there is a deficiency of ECD teachers, then you have to recruit. You cannot say that I cannot recruit, and you have that deficiency. But there is an easier route of declaring redundancies, because this committee has been faced of a matter that a certain county government inherited a rat culture, and is in their payroll, and they can do nothing about it. Have you ever employed the option of declaring redundancies?
Thank you, Chair. We have explored that option. However, it's a very risky option, because it will set up the executive, the employees against the executive. It's also something that we need to do with the County Public Service Board. We need an advisory from the County Public Service Board.
So when you say that we have improved, what evidence do you have that you have improved? In your mind, in anything that you have written, the County Public Service Board, or what evidence do you have on record that you have improved this particular option?
Chair, there is actually no tangible evidence, because this is a discussion that we've had openly with the County Public Service Board.
Chair, let me ask, the 9 legal councils, who are they reporting to? Is it yourself?
The county solicitor.
What is the connection between you and the county solicitor? Are you the boss?
Yes, technically I'm the boss.
Malcolm, you will need to look at that act again, because I think there's a violation of the County Attorney's Act. Even in the absence of the county attorney over litigation, I do not think that a political appointee should take over the legal affairs of a county. Senator, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I don't know between the CEC, the public administration, and the county secretary, who is involved in the policing of staff in different centers. For example, when you talk of staff establishment and audit of staff establishment, Chair, I thought you wanted to know somebody with a degree in medicine, where they should be working at a health center, for example. Whether a PhD holder or holders are manning farmers training centers, where farmers go for training, a bit of training and such. And then also a nurse with a master's degree is at the health center. We have level 4s, level 5s. So I'm a bit worried who is this who places the staff in the Meru County government in these responsibilities. because I can see this abuse of professionalism. When with a PhD, you are manning farmers who are 10, 20, 30. A trained doctor or a pharmacist is working at a dispensary. So you see that abuse of